Hey, welcome back to the Front Porch. Very special treat and surprise for you. Caron Myers, most of you know Caron. Caron, you've been on the television for 10, 15 minutes.
No, more like 20, 25 years. Yeah, kind of like you.
Caron knows what she's doing. She's been involved with major agencies around our area for years and years and years. Most of you know her. She puts up with her husband. Most of you know Chocolate Myers.
Danny Chocolate Myers. That's right.
Myers.
That's right.
Radio personality. His radio show nationally is a big thing.
It is. He's got like 35 million listeners, but that's not just in America. It's anywhere you can get that satellite radio.
Right. Well, don't tell him.
I won't. I know.
But some of the projects I want to tell you about that I got excited about because Caron's doing such a good job. Most of you know she's a prolific writer. She can do anything to convey a message. And one thing she did that really, really impressed me and hit home was her little pirate book, Captain Stephen. Tell me the story of Captain Stephen. What is this book about?
Well, a lot of you know that I have a great passion for the cancer because it affected me and my life, just like it affects many of you and your lives. I had a daughter. She was 5 years old. Her name was Brandy, and she was diagnosed with leukemia. And we went through 3 years of chemotherapy, and she was off for a whole year, and then she relapsed. And when she relapsed with a vengeance. And at the time, they were telling me, the doctors were telling me that she needed something called a bone marrow transplant. Well, at the time, there was no national registry. So a friend of mine, whose name is Congressman C.W. Bill Young out of St. Petersburg, Florida, a longtime family friend of mine, would come to the hospital. He said, "What can I do to help?" And I said, "Well, they're telling me she needs this transplant. There's no one in the family that matches. And so we need to do something." And so he, in a great effort, he went out and found some information about bone marrow and the registry and what we could do. And there was a small registry under the auspices of the Navy. And he was able to take that money from the Navy, move it over, and create a national bone marrow transplant registry.
Now, what this means is, and a lot of times a match is not in the family.
That's correct.
But there are other people, and that's what we do. We're talking about a registry.
Right.
Is you register your bone marrow type.
Yeah, and actually nowadays it's so simple because all they do is take a little swab in the mouth, and that's how you...
It used to be a procedure.
They used to draw blood, but they don't do that any longer. So anyhow, yeah, it's very easy. So anyhow, he created that. Brandy ended up having something called an autologous bone marrow transplant. She was her own donor, and theoretically, they would treat the bone marrow, take it out of her body, put it back in, treated, and theoretically, it was without cancer cells. However, she got secondary complications to too much radiation, and sadly, on a Mother's Day, she passed away at age 10. And so that's been, it's a huge hole in the heart. It's a friend of mine here locally named Sandy Von Tobel calls us the hole in the heart gang because of parents that have lost children, and she's very right about that. But in an effort to educate other parents and other children out there that have cancer, I came up with this little book, and actually it has a huge Lexington component in this because there was a guy that lived on the lake whose brother, Mark Holland, is a really good friend of mine. His brother was Steve Holland, and Steve fancied himself to be a pirate. And so he would dress up in the pirate regalia and go and entertain children. So anyhow, and Steve sadly passed away with cancer. And so I thought about Steve, and then I knew the story, my own daughter's story, and the many children that I've met throughout the years that have cancer. And so I came up with the idea of a little story called Captain Stephen, the Little Pirate Who Fought the Big Sea. Now, most people think the Big Sea, a little double entendre here, is the ocean. And certainly it is. But adults oftentimes call cancer the Big C.
Right.
And so that's the whole premise of this book. It's about a little boy named Stephen who wanted to be a pirate, and his mother helped him and created an outfit for him. He found out he was sick, went to the doctor. He found out he wasn't alone. And there are many things in this book, like even here where I bring Brandy, my daughter, back in because he made new friends at the hospital and found he wasn't alone. And there's a little girl there, and it says, "Hi, my name is Brandy."
Oh, that's great.
And little things that you wouldn't have seen.
Now, you have gotten some pretty outstanding support.
Absolutely.
On the book. Tell me some of the folks that have gotten involved.
Well, I'm very honored to say that because of our connection with NASCAR, Jeff Gordon, the Jeff Gordon Foundation, which has helped in supporting the Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte, the Jeff Gordon Foundation, along with Rick Hendrick and the Bone Marrow Registry, the National Bone Marrow Registry, are buying 1,000 books. And they're taking the books themselves and soliciting and putting them in children's hospitals all over the country. I am so happy. This is not a money-making situation here. This is not a money-making deal. This is all about getting this into the hands of children and letting them know they're not alone. But I tell you, I don't end this book with any false promises either. Because the book ends with his mother telling him, basically believe. Just have faith. Believe that you can make it through. That's half the battle right there.
All right. Where can they get a copy?
Well, you can locally get a copy right up the street at Pandora's. Pandora is carrying them, and they're in bookstores all over the place. You can get them online. You can get them on Amazon. They're more expensive that way. You can get them cheaper right here at Pandora's, but they're everywhere. Author House is the publisher, and I have to tell you, the young man that was my illustrator, his name's Chris Griffin. I have to give him major kudos. He is a student up in the Winston-Salem area. He is in the 11th grade, and he's the one that did this. So I'm just so excited about it.
All right. You've seen the book. Now comes the surprise and special part. Caron is now part of Hometown TV Today.
Yay!
Look for Caron. She'll be showing you some things you really haven't ever seen in our community. She'll be working with some of the sponsors you see, coming up with some new and exciting ideas. All I can say is look out. No telling what's going to happen.
Well, I tell you, I'm so excited about it because not only have you been a friend for many years, but Rod Thomas, who's behind the camera, say hello, Rod. Go ahead, move that camera. There you go. Rod Thomas and I worked together many years ago in NASCAR, and so I'm just thrilled to be working with him again.
All right, we're excited. Yeah, like I said, you got a lot of exciting things coming your way right here on Hometown TV Today. But that wraps it up. We're out of time. Hannah's giving me the okay. But we've had a big time on the front porch. We've learned a lot. Some incredibly good things are happening right here in our community, and we'll keep you informed. So keep watching and looking for the front porch.